Good afternoon. I'll call the meeting of the Tennessee State Funding Board for July 22nd, 2024 to order. I will note that there is a physical quorum present. And I will ask, have we had any requests for public comment?
No, we have not had any requests for public comment.
Very good. Thank you. I will note that attending in person today is myself, Comptroller Jason Mumpower, Treasurer David Lillard, Commissioner of Finance Jeff Bryson. First up on the agenda today, we have approval of the minutes from the June 24th, 2024 meeting. Members, I hope you took time to look over those in your packet before today. Pending any discussion or questions, we need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Have a motion properly seconded. Any questions or discussion? If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes say aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Next up, we have a report from the Department of Economic and Community Development for approval of funding of a couple of fast track projects. I think Jamie Stitt and Allison Crystal are here today. And glad to have you all with us. And Allison, are you going to start to go over the balances?
Yes, sir.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Allison Crystal, ECD Budget and Finance Administrator. Our balance for the Fast Track Fund as of the last report is $613.3 million. New appropriations is $36.4 million. We have $13.2 million categorized as newly deobligated. $30,000 for Fast Track grants approved less than $750,000. We have $1 million in Fast Track administrative costs, which brings our adjusted Fast Track balance available to $661.8 million. Our total amount of commitments is $520.7 million, bringing our uncommitted Fast Track balance to $141.1 million, a percentage committed of 78.7%. Today's proposed grants are $1.9 million, which would bring our uncommitted balance to $139.2 million for a percent committed of 79%. Thank you.
Very good. Members, any questions or comments? If not, we appreciate it. And Jamie, are you going to go over the projects? We have two projects without objection. I will let both of them be explained and go from there.
Okay. Jamie Stitt, Assistant Commissioner of Business and Workforce Development. The first project that we have today is Walmart Associates, Inc. in Lebanon, Wilson County. Walmart is a brand that we all know and recognize. Walmart has been investing heavily in the company's supply chain network, as well as building out their e-commerce site. This fulfillment center will support Walmart's e-commerce operations in the region. Walmart Associates, Inc. has committed to create 294 net new jobs and make a capital investment of $75 million with an average hourly wage of $27.42 in Lebanon, Wilson County, and Wilson County's county median wage is $18.30. So this is significantly higher than the county median wage in Wilson County. We are asking the board's permission to award the company with a Fast Track Job Training Assistance Program grant that will be used to help offset the costs the company will incur in training their new employees, with an award valued at $940,800 for a total Fast Track award of $940,800. The second project that we have to present to you all today is Hyla Mobile, Inc. in Mount Juliet, Wilson County. Hyla Mobile is a subsidiary of Assurant. Assurant is a leading global provider of comprehensive risk management solutions for the auto, lifestyle, and housing protection sectors. Assurant helps businesses manage their risks. Hyla Mobile, Inc. is expanding their technology center, providing support, research and development, and repair services for consumer electronics, including mobile phones and other electronics. Hyla Mobile has committed to create 650 jobs and make a capital investment of $12,500,000 with an average hourly wage of $22.19. Again, in Wilson County, and Wilson County's county median wage is $18.30. So again, this is a higher county or higher wage than the county median wage. We're asking the board's permission to award the company with a Fast Track Job Training Assistance Program grant to offset the cost the company will incur in training their net new employees, valued at $975,000 for a total Fast Track award of $975,000. And that is our report for the day.
Very good. Thank you. For the purpose of questions and discussion, do we have a motion and a second to move the two items? I have a motion properly seconded. A couple quick questions. In regard to these two projects that you described, have the companies signed the incentive acceptance forms and do they fully understand the agreements?
Yes, sir.
Have the checklist been completed for all the projects?
Yes, sir.
And do both of these projects include accountability agreements which provide protections to the state in the event the entities cannot fulfill their end of the deal?
Yes, sir.
Very good. What about any further comments, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the two projects as described, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? The items are approved.
Thank you all very
Thank you
much.
very much. Next up on the agenda today, we have consideration for approval of revisions to the Tennessee State Funding Board's debt management policy. We're going to have a debt management policy discussion for all three of the meetings today. Presenting today is Sandy Thompson. Sandy, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the State Funding Board. Our division, State Government Finance, conducted an extensive review of all of our debt management policies for all of our debt programs. In looking at them, we determined that, of course, over the course of the past 4 or 5 years, things have changed in our debt market, and we definitely needed to do some updating. We did that section by section. A lot of the changes that we made were for clarification purposes, but there were some other items that we worked on to make sure that we did them in the policy, namely that they followed our law. So we actually referenced TCA as well. In other words, we updated our debt service coverage test, reworded it in that section to follow TCA language. In addition, we also included tender option as a way to issue debt. We did not have that in the policy before, so we added a tool to our toolbox. We don't necessarily have to do that, but in the event that we do decide to do a tender option, we have that in the debt management policy. It does allow us to do that. Other than that, we did beef up the risk assessment section of the policy as well, and you'll find that there's other terms in there that have been included and added. So other than that, as I mentioned, just clarification and beefing up some of the sections is what we did.
Very good. Thank you, Sandy. Members, I hope you took time in the packet provided before the meeting to look through that so that we can have discussion. How about a motion and a second to approve the debt management policy? We have a motion properly seconded. Any questions or discussion about the debt management policy? Seeing none, all those in favor of the policy, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? The item is approved. Next up today, we have consideration for approval of a resolution certifying special revenues as required by TCA 99104B. Sandy Thompson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the State Funding Board. We do have several items we'll be presenting to you. This is basically fiscal year end items that we look at on an annual basis. This is one of them. The state has covenanted with its bondholders that it will not decrease the special tax revenues that have been pledged for the payment of principal interest on its debt unless the State Funding Board certifies by resolution as required by 99104 the following. All payments due pursuant to statute have been made in full. The state is not in default in payment of any outstanding debt, and fees and taxes pledged pursuant to TCA 99104 will be sufficient to provide funds adequate to meet all payments. Included in the information that you have in your packets is that resolution for your review, and staff recommends approval of this resolution.
Thank you very much. Members, I hope you've seen that resolution in the packet so that we can have discussion. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign? The item is approved. Next up, we have consideration for approval of a resolution certifying and authorizing the allocation of funds to the sinking fund for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. Sandy Thompson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This particular resolution certifies the amount of taxes and fees that will be deposited into the sinking fund to cover our debt service expenses for fiscal year 2024-25. And this resolution is effective July 1.
Thank you very much for the description. Simple and straightforward. Members, do we have a motion? Have a motion properly seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved. Next, we have consideration for approval of a resolution allocating funds to defray a portion of the cost of highway construction projects and canceling authorized bonds. Sandy Thompson, you're recognized.
Yes, sir. This resolution cancels bonds for highway construction projects in the amount of $87,700,000. And this resolution will be effective July 1, 2020.
We have a motion, properly seconded, and just for the record, Sandy, do I see these are 2016 bonds we no longer need? Right. That's right. Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved. Next, we have consideration for approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds of the state of Tennessee based on Public Chapter 965, Public Act 2024, also known as the 2024 Bond Bill. Sandy Thompson, you're recognized.
Thank you. This resolution authorized the issuance of GO bonds in the amount of $87,700,000 pursuant to fiscal year 2023-24 bond bill. This will be effective July 1, 2024. So, of course, this authorizes highway projects, but the state's current practice is to fund their projects in cash, not issue bonds.
Right. We need the authorized but unissued in order to secure the contract. Members, we have a motion. I'll second. We have a motion properly seconded. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved. Next, we have consideration for approval of updates to the budget and debt manuals and guidelines for local government. Steve Osborne, the Comptroller's Division of Local Government Finance, you're recognized to present.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. Steve Osborne, Assistant Director, Local Government Finance. The budget manual is being amended to clarify how the budget may be amended upon comptroller requirements for an amendment and to provide a sample resolution for this amendment. It also clarifies how an entity earns the budget certificate and adds guidance on adopting the budget during a reappraisal year. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you, members. There are a few things more exciting than the Tennessee Budget Manual for Local Government published by the Office of the Comptroller. I hope you all took time to read it before you got here. We have a motion. We have a motion properly seconded to approve the manual as described. Any questions, discussion? If not, all those in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. The item is approved. Next up, we have the annual report on request for approval of balloon indebtedness. Again, Steve Osborne from the Division of Local Government Finance presenting.
Thank you. The balloon debt report shows the status of requests received by the Division of Local Government Finance during fiscal year 2024. We received 2 requests for balloon indebtedness report during this year, both for refundings for savings. This is the lowest number of requests that we've received since the law took effect in 2015.
Very good. Members, this is a report item, no vote necessary. Do you have any questions for Steve? No? Thank you for that report, Steve. Next up, we have another report item. This is the annual report on outstanding debt for Industrial Development Boards. Steve Osborne, Division of Local Government Finance, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. This is the 5th year that we have reported on the IDB debt. The report shows that as of the end of fiscal year 2023, there are 93 counties that have active IDBs, and 44 of those counties had no outstanding debt. Of the IDBs with outstanding debt, there were 210 conduit debt issues, which is debt that's being repaid by others other than the IDB, and 89 direct debt issues are those being paid by the IDB, for a total of 299 debt issues. Nashville's IDB remains the largest with 85 total debt issues and slightly under $1 billion in outstanding bonds. We note that the majority of these are conduit debt.
Very good. Members, again, this is a report item. Any questions or discussion? Commissioner Bryce.
I have a question. Yeah, just for my knowledge, as I was reading through this, my question went through my mind. How do we use this report? What's it used for?
So we use it to keep track of all of the IDBs that are out there and all of the IDBs that have debt. And the next item here is going to be a default, so it helps us to understand who has what kind of debt outstanding, and then they have to report defaults to us also.
So that helps us to track the defaults. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not necessarily just the defaults, but to be able to see how much debt is out there. So the legislature in 2018 said, we would like the comptroller to keep track of all the debt issues. And so this has been a kind of a lockstep program where we, for the first time last year, got 100% traction with this. So we were able to see all the debt that was outstanding. And we
So if it spiked or something, we'd have to be a red flag we'd look at.
Correct, sir.
Thank you. That was just a input.
Thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, the report is received and appreciated. Next up, we have a report on notice of default by the Economic Development Group Growth Engine Industrial Development Board, Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, otherwise known as EDGE. Steve Osborne, Local Government Finance.
Thank you, sir. The Memphis IDB EDGE reported a monetary default of their 2017 D Graceland bonds. This is the 7th notice of default for the 2017 D bonds. Under the indenture, failure to make a payment on these bonds is not a default, but it is as reported to the funding board.
Very good. Report item, no vote necessary. Any questions or discussions? You did say Series D.
D, yes.
So the previous series were satisfied in this case.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a waterfall type scenario, and the Ds were the last bonds to not receive money.
Thank you. Members, any questions? Brian Treasurer Lowen.
This comptroller's office having conversations with, about the status of this funding issue, with conversations with bondholders. You know anything about that?
We have spoke with bond counsel and we have spoke with their financial analyst. We have not spoke with any of the bondholders. Although we do understand that the bondholders voiced their opinion when the A bonds were not paid and they received a partial payment. We've now been told that the A bonds have been fully paid up to current. The D bonds have yet to be have a payment made in 3.5 years.
And Steve, these are private placement bonds, they're not
Correct.
not public, is that correct?
Correct. The D bonds are privately placed with a sophisticated investor. And they were aware that if money was not available, it would not be a default.
Any further questions or comments? The report's appreciated. Next up on the agenda today, we have a report on the state of Tennessee general obligation and commercial paper indebtedness. Sandy Thompson, you're recognized.
In your packet, the very last page, and it's two-sided, is the report as of June 30th, 2024. Of course, these numbers are unaudited. The first report is the general obligation debt program. It shows you the balances of the commercial paper outstanding, taxable, tax exempt, and total, as well as the bonds that are outstanding, taxable, tax exempt, and total. And as you can see there, we've got commercial paper taxable 5,113,000, tax exempt 15,500,000 for a total of 20,613,000. And then our bonds outstanding, we have taxable bonds of 593,455,000, tax exempt 1,095,650,000 for a total of 1,689,105. 689,105,000. If you flip that page over, you'll see that there's some detailed information regarding the commercial paper program. We like to report this to you just to show you what that average daily balance is for our taxable and tax exempt bonds for the period of July 1, 2023 to 2024. Shows you the average daily balance, what the interest rate ranges were for both taxable and tax exempt debt, and what the weighted average yield was for both taxable and tax exempt. Then we've outlined for you below what the expenses for the commercial paper program has been over the year, from commercial paper interest of that 2.7 million to our rating fees of 11,800. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Members, any comments or questions? Seeing none, this is a report item, no vote necessary. That leaves the only item on our agenda today, funding board, to be adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.